plotting evil schemes, fighting phantoms, haunting dreams, echoes of forgotten screams, horror not as it all seems. Battle cries and blackened void, demons that I once enjoyed, now my strength they can't avoid, living past I'm forced to destroy. I suppose the blood they crave, spirits risen from the grave, clawing beasts the souls they save. I'll be fighting till I cave, monsters hiding in my fears, bloody masks and deadly leers, fending off.
Alright, everybody. Give me just one more minute. Theoretically, we're working. Hey, Mind. Hey, Time, if you're still there. It's good to see both of you. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. Hey, I like my cricket section. Alright, give me one moment. I need to reopen all my shit again. Awesome. So, I apologize for the technical issues we had at the start. I think I've got them figured out. But yeah. If the stream starts going crazy again, then we will figure out what the fuck is going on. So what I am doing tonight, for those of you that haven't seen our Facebook, and for those of you that have, please visit our Facebook. That's where a lot of our notifications happen. I am in the process of re-updating our Discord so that that is better suited for everybody. And then our website is also in the process of being updated. But for now, Facebook is the best way to see what's going on. Our streams have changed for the remainder of August. Extremely long story short, my job is a public-facing job. It's one where I have to help a lot of different people navigate governmental systems. And as you can imagine, that's a bit of a bitch right now. So, yeah, I am not getting as much work done on the Shattered World as I want, and I need to. Mondays and Tuesdays will remain unchanged. Monday is still our game design stream, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday is still Bitey's Breaks because I need a break. And that is 8:30 p.m. Eastern as well. Our Thursday 8:30 p.m. Eastern and Sunday 10 a.m. Eastern games will now be, for the rest of this month, game design streams. I'm going to be working on the quick start guide. You guys can see a first glimpse of it, how it's coming along, what's going on, and there will also be times where you guys can actually influence what I put in there as a thank you for supporting me so far. Look, long story short is pretty much just words for me at this point. Y'all know that. I ramble a lot. Oh, that should be tech, not streetwise. Handguns, electronics. So now that I can actually see y'all, how's it going? What's going on? What y'all been up to? Hey, do what you gotta do. Ah, hell, one sec. Sorry about that. Where is my fucking water? That's a good point. Give me 1 second. Ugh. Hydrate or dihydrate, right? Also, I swear to God, if the stream goes like a champ for the rest of the night. Millimeters, semi-automatic. So, these are actually the 0 hour characters that we've been working on before. They are finalized, and I am uploading them to the new version of the character sheets. We've made them a little bit easier to read while still trying to maintain that kind of police file, military file vibe that I initially wanted. The character we are uploading now is the librarian, the iconic character for the Ardor of the White Eye. Each of the characters have their own little things about them that make them unique. I know that's fucking pointless because that's how RPGs work. However, we tried to make sure, number one, I made sure that each organization had its own iconic character. But number two, I wanted to make sure that each one represented a different play style. So the librarian is very much that knowledge and spellcaster. For those of you familiar with 3rd edition D&D, the joke about the 15-minute workday, that's not accurate, but it's not far off either for the librarian. Alright. And that will be uploaded later because I want to save that as a surprise for you guys. I will, however, go back a page. No, the character's name is Eleanor. I think that got the theater kids back. Yes, the connection should theoretically be good. I'm hopeful. I did some resetting and then checked some other things. It does still look a little... not quite as good as I want on my end. It's still fading a little bit, but nowhere near what it is earlier. I am going to keep experimenting, however... I think I know what the problem is. Alright, give me one moment. One of the things I've added arg, 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 arg. God, I really apologize, mind. You know I love you, but my brain is now singing "Oh, who has a TIA" to the tune of SpongeBob, and I'm really sorry. Yay, cowbell. There we go. I need to get better about working in layers. There we go. That's going to be stuck in my head all fucking day. So, one of the things that characters can do are different maneuvers. One of the things I wanted to make sure was that, so in games like D&D 3.x, and this continued to Pathfinder 1st Edition, and I would argue even D&D 5th Edition to a degree, was you had the stand and deliver problem, right? Like, oftentimes, the best thing your character could do was just move into a position, try to stay in that position as long as physically possible, and full attack every turn. If you were moving, you were making a mistake. If you were doing anything other than attacking, you were making a mistake. And I don't like that play style. So, one of the things I tried to do was give a lot of different maneuvers that allowed you to contribute to battle without actually attacking. If you watch real fights or even really well choreographed fights, right? Like, I'm not trying to say the fight scenes in The Princess Bride or the first Pirates of the Caribbean are authentic fights, but they're very well choreographed. And you're not just attacking, you're feinting, you're trying to disarm, you're swashbuckling around, you're fucking around, right? Like, there's more than just stand in a spot, swing 8 times, call it good. So one of the things I tried to do was, and I think I can move this over. So obviously we have our destiny abilities, but wow, that's really far behind what I'm saying. Alright, that's okay. We're going to go with it. So, it'll catch up with me. Or it won't. So for some characters, that absolutely worked. But again, even your roguey characters, yeah, crossbow, move, shoot again, sure. But compare the DPS of a character that did that, and a rogue that dual-wielded daggers, ran up and full attacked. One turn full attack, and I just did the equivalent of 5 or 6 crossbow shots, even factoring in sneak attack, because I get sneak attack on every hit. That's one of the reasons why later editions of D&D you only got sneak attack on the first hit. Snipers are fun. Snipers are cool. Snipers also have a problem with D&D, and that's the problem of scale. By that I mean parties stick together. When a party doesn't stick together, the party dies. When 3 of the party members have to be within 30 feet of the opponent to do anything, and one party member wants to be 300 feet away, yeah. I will keep my mouth open as much as I want. Besides, you know I'm right. Oh, I went a little shady. Yeah, you're going to be listening. But one of the things I tried to do to get back on topic is include a lot of different maneuvers that didn't do map. I don't know if you've had a chance to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition yet. If you haven't yet, I strongly recommend it. 2nd Edition is, in my opinion, it's better than 1st Edition. The only thing 1st Edition has going for it is that it's been out longer and has more shit. But 2nd Edition is very quickly closing that gap. 2nd Edition, in my opinion, is much better designed than 1st Edition. It unshackled itself from D&D's legacy, moved on to do its own thing, and while I do have gripes with the system, I think it largely succeeds. Oh, you like 5th? I thought better of you, Mind. You deserve better than 5th edition. Yeah, you only like Exalted because you're fucking complicated, Time. I think you're a masochist. Um, I don't have to say it. It's assumed. Like, there's a certain kind of person that says, if I say my favorite game is X, it says something. Enjoy this ASMR rendering.
You're supposed to whisper.
Hi. Something something ASMR. Listen to my stream. Give me money. Yay. And that's absolutely fair to both of you. Um, Fourth edition, we will absolutely discuss. I would argue fourth edition is one of the most important D&D editions that they ever made. I won't say it's a good edition, it's a bad edition, but I think it's an important edition, one that needs to be discussed more because it very much ties into what's going on now with D&D. Um, kind of. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not right, in my opinion. I don't agree with you, but you're not wrong. Fourth edition is a warning. Fourth edition D&D. Oh, how do I phrase this in a way that isn't overly ranty? Shut up, time. I love you. Um, no. So the problem with fourth edition, for those of you that grew up in the '90s like me, JRPGs were big in that time, especially on the Super Nintendo, which was the best. Here's the problem. Squaresoft, what is now known as Square Enix, realized that the West wasn't truly used to Japanese style RPGs, JRPGs at the time. Final Fantasy, without getting into my rant on Final Fantasy, research it when you have a second. The numbering system for Final Fantasy is fucked up. Very simply, they made the first game, brought it over to the US. They made the second game, didn't bring it to the US. Made the third game, didn't bring it to the US. Made the fourth game, brought it over to the US, and renamed it as 2. Because they just didn't think the other Final Fantasies would make it. And then same thing with 5, they didn't bring it over. 6, they did, they renamed it to 3. So, for you old hats like me who are like, wait a minute, Kefka was in Final Fantasy 3, I fucking remember. And everybody's like, no, Grandpa, it was in 6. Fuck you, it was in 3, they're messing with you. But one of the things Square Enix did was they made a game called Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And it was a very stripped down version of Final Fantasy. It was designed with one goal: to familiarize the West with JRPGs in general and the Final Fantasy series specifically. It was one of, I believe the only, but don't quote me, one of the only Final Fantasies that had a Venetian spellcasting system, D&D style spellcasting. It had one main character and then other characters, NPCs, that periodically joined your party and left. Only one at a time. It was, again, very stripped down. There wasn't a lot of difference between the characters because there didn't have to be. And it was designed, again, as an introduction. It was not a mainline Final Fantasy. It was a tutorial. I mean, the main character did get a couple bitches. But that was its point. And in that role, it was really good. It absolutely succeeded at what it set out to do. You know, it very much served as an amazing tutorial for the, 4 people that played it. But it was never designed to be a mainline Final Fantasy. They didn't make it to be that. And it wasn't that. And when they continued on with Final Fantasy, they continued on with numbered Final Fantasies. D&D 4th edition should have been the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest of D&D. Because look at D&D 4th edition, especially when it came out. What was its stated goal? It was a reset. 3rd edition had become too bloated, had too many third-party add-ons, the power levels fluctuated all over the place. These were all true statements. So they remade D&D, they made it into D&D 4th edition, and they made it as a new entry point for new players to serve as an introduction to tabletop RPGs in general, tabletop RPGs specifically, and that's why it has so many similarities with board games at the time, because that's the audience they were trying to pull over. It was very much a purpose-driven game. And in that regard, D&D 4th edition, I would argue, is one of the best D&D editions of all time. Absolutely. It deserves all the respect for doing what it tried to do. Now, was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest a good Final Fantasy? Fuck no. Was D&D 4th edition a good Dungeons and Dragons? No. Absolutely not. It was never supposed to be. Making it a numbered D&D was where they went wrong. If they had made D&D 4th edition as D&D the Adventures box, D&D the Beginner's Kit, right? We would be talking about 4th edition in a completely different tone than we do now. Oh, fuck you, time. Yeah, that's a true statement. I stand by that. Munchkin is Munchkin is better, yes. But the point is, Munchkin was not designed to be a trainer, right? It wasn't designed to bring new people in. 4th edition was. Where 4th edition failed, let me rephrase that. 4th edition didn't fail. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro failed. Their marketing failed. They pissed off a lot of people, especially when they tried to mess around with the OGL the first time. And that led to a lot of people jumping ship and going over to Piazzo and Pathfinder. I remember a little bit ago, I was on Reddit and I saw somebody make a post completely in seriousness. It was one of those, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, but change it a little bit so nobody knows. Comics with D&D 3.x and Pathfinder. And the person was completely in all seriousness about it. And I was just sitting there like, am I really that old? Like, my brother in Christ, that was literally the point of Pathfinder First Edition, was that it was D&D 3.75. Um, that does help. That's the way I am though. Like, I have played D&D. I've played tabletop RPGs now for 30 years. I've played D&D since the early 2000s, or the late 90s, early 2000s. I've played Pathfinder since it came out. I have never really played in Galarian, the Pathfinder main setting. I played in Forgotten Realms once. Once? I played in Dragonlance once, and Kenders can go fuck themselves. Kenders are absolutely a horrible race. I will die on that hill. Time, you can absolutely clip that if you want. Kenders are the Fishmelks. That's fair, Time. But no, Kenders are very much the Fishmelks of D&D. That's shit. Kenders suck. Anyway, let me get back on topic. The whole reason I'm doing game design is because I wanted to be on topic. But one of the things I tried to do was make a bunch of different maneuvers that did different things and didn't count towards your multiple attack penalty. That way you could always contribute to combat whether or not you are actively going pew-pew. So, for example, our librarian, let me pull their sheet back up. Alright, so with their 9mm semi-automatic, they only have a +4 to attack and they do 3 damage. That's not a lot. They have a range of 6. Or they can distract. Because their weapon skill isn't a lot, they don't do a huge penalty, but they can distract their opponent. This is instead 2d12 plus 8 rather than 2d12 plus 4. So they have a much higher chance of succeeding. It's going against the enemy's resolve plus weapon skill rather than agility plus evasiveness. So again, it's targeting different things. Bring it on, mind. You'll find out what happens. If you think that's the action you want to do, go ahead. But you also have things like impairing hit, again, because it's mental acuity plus weapon skill. You're actually aiming, targeting, thinking, rather than just firing or swinging. You're better at hitting. They're going to do damage equal to their mental acuity, so this... with this character, the way this character is set up, they should almost never be doing regular attacks and almost always be doing impairing hits. This should be their primary action. Now, under tags, you see this has both the maneuver and the attack tag. If it has the attack tag, it's subject to multiple attack penalty. No, that doesn't annoy me. I like it when you play characters that can outsmart me. I'll grumble about it, sure, but it doesn't annoy me. I'm proud if you can do that. Let me rephrase that. That sounded way more fucking arrogant than I meant. I like shenanigans. I like fucking around. I like having fun. If you're trying to outdo me, that means you're invested. That means you're playing along. That means you're probably having fun. And I like the table to have fun. So play a Kender. Like I said, go ahead. If you want to do that, we'll see where your actions lead you. So we're going to do distract first. That was 2d12. Let me get back to the right page. Alright, an impairing hit was also 8. Uh-huh, keep it up. Alright. 4, 5, 6. And moving on to the next character. We're going to go ahead and do the mercenary next. I do what I want. Alright, so of the characters, oh come on, you piece of shit. There we go. So, Janessa, the sharpshooter, is our... She is our Supernatural Hunter Incorporated sharpshooter. Sniper. She's the pew pew shooty person. As long as she can get some distance, and as long as she can keep ammo, she can take out enemies all day long. No. Not really. Mostly it's because I'm a stupid American. It is what it is. If I'm doing one where it's specifically set in a part of the world that uses metric, sure. Right now, because most of my audience is American, most of my buyers are going to be American, I'm going to stick to the standard because that's what they know. Now, as I start making inroads into the international market, God willing, then yes, I will absolutely do that a little bit more. But for the moment, all right. So, one of the changes, if you've been watching since the beginning, some of our merits have gone through changes. One of the big ones is merits now do increased things as your skill gets better. So Hawkeye, for example, is tied to the perception skill. Once you hit these, if you just have a rank in perception, you increase your range with ranged weapons by 2. When you hit a target within 6 squares, you do 1 damage. Once you hit specialist, meaning 4 or more ranks in perception, your range now increases by 4 instead, rather than by 2. And while it's not on here, because for this I only included the information relevant to the character at hand, and the character at hand is not a pinnacle level in perception yet, they add half their agility to damage with ranged weapons. Oh, I wish. Legality in international waters. Yes. So, I also want to point out, again, like I said earlier, I love shenanigans. I love doing things that you probably shouldn't, or using abilities in ways they weren't really designed to be used. A good example for this, Final Fantasy XI. It was the first of the online Final Fantasies. After it came out in the US, one of the most popular tanks in the game was the Ninja. Ninja was not supposed to be a tank class. It was never designed to be a tank class. It was a skirmisher. It was a rogue. Ninja had access to ninjutsu, where you would spend some money, spend some gil to use a consumable item, and get a temporary effect. One of the things they had was this ninjutsu where you basically auto-dodged for a few seconds. Now, the point of this was supposed to be you run away from your group, you pull an enemy, and because you're using a thrown weapon rather than an actual ranged weapon, you can't pull as far, so the enemy gets to you quicker so they can hit you more as you're running back to the party. You use that so that you're temporarily, auto-dodging for a few seconds. You get back to the party, the tank peels it off of you using a taunt, and you survive, because surviving is nice. Hey, you know what? If they put the coke back in coke, or the cocaine back in coke, not the coke back in cocaine, goddamn, I would absolutely get this playtest done in like a week. I would then promptly explode, but anyway, to go back to my example, players quickly found out that if you maxed out your skill with that, it would last a decent amount of time. So you could tank. And as long as you had the right subclass equipped, you could tank fairly well. And there were certain monsters that you arguably could tank better than an actual tank class. That was the goal. And a lot of people started using Ninja as a tank when it was never supposed to be that. Not originally. If they put the cocaine back in Dr. Pepper, I still wouldn't drink it. But, joking aside. That's an example of using abilities not in the intended way, but they still worked. One of the abilities that we have in the game is called Aggressive Banter. And it's the taunt ability, more or less. You make a Resolve plus Intimidate check. Targets infuriated must spend at least one action on their next turn targeting you, either by moving towards you or using an action that specifically targets you or includes you in its effect. Now, our sniper here does not want to be targeted. So why do they have aggressive banter? Well, it's because their range is 11. They can tag something 11 squares away. Adversaries, by default, only have 2 actions. So if I shoot you, spend an action calling you a bitch, and then run, you're probably not getting to me. And that action you spent chasing me is an action that you didn't spend attacking one of my friends. It's an action you didn't spend using an ability, right? Like, it's basically a wasted action. And you only have 2 of them unless otherwise stated. Now, are there enemies this won't work against? Yes, obviously. But it is another tool that you can use in a way that might not be apparent at first glance. And I wanted to include things like that with the iconic characters to help get you in that mindset. Dr. Pepper's the devil, man. Dr. Pepper has one use and one use only, and that's when you're making brisket. If you're not making brisket, you don't have to hate yourself and drink Dr. Pepper. The world is better than that. You deserve better than that. Don't drink Dr. Pepper. Love yourself. All right. Let me get back. You know what I love most about these streams? I don't get shit done. No, joking aside, I do, and I appreciate everyone who's been here tonight. I do greatly appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Please don't think for a second that I don't. Ah! So again, this character has a speed of 7 and a range of 11. They can absolutely just fuck with people. You know what? I'm absolutely willing to give up my Dr. Pepper sponsorship. Absolutely. I'd rather have a sponsorship from fucking Factor. Hey, kids, do you want to spend $13 for a fucking dollar Hungry Man TV dinner? We said it's fresh. Therefore, you're going to spend 13 times the price for it. Joking aside, Factor, I will absolutely lie to people's faces and sponsor for you. Please love me, corporate overlords. Sponsored by Big Tobacco. I do kind of look like Joe Camel. I've got that derpy thing going on some days. Not gonna lie. Soda is something I'm trying to give up. It's the only real quote unquote soda that I drink now is energy drinks, which I know are not healthy. Um, I need to be laying off the caffeine, especially with me on Adderall, but I need it. I'm addicted. I'm not gonna lie. Ah, I want to feel really good. All right. So at this point, it is 10:05. My voice is killing me. So we are going to go ahead and look at some of the other tabletop RPG streams, and I'm going to do a raid in just a minute. I don't know who the fuck Bishi Bunny is, but they're playing Cyberpunk. So we are going to do a raid to Bishi Bunny. That's awesome, Mind. Like, seriously, that's... I wish I could give up caffeine like that. But raid is created. Again, our next stream will be Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and that will also be a game design stream. So, y'all take care, be safe, and I will see you next time.